Hi FlossTube, I'm Nan Pope. I'm the difference maker. And thanks for joining me today. This is my FlossTube. It's a channel about cross stitch, assorted needlework, sometimes photography, quilting. But thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming back to see me again. If you saw my first video, this is video number 2. Trying something a little bit different. Being that I said that I do a lot of photography, one of the things that I was not happy with in my last video was my camera angle. And that's because I'm so used to being on the other side of the camera. When you're on this side, it just, it's a little more difficult, challenging, especially when you're doing the setup, by yourself. So, I guess what I'll do is start by giving you a little bit more information about me. As I mentioned in the last video, my husband and I, well, I didn't tell you how long we've been married. We've been married for almost 38 years. We met in college and we went to a small university over in Alabama called the University of Montevallo. We met there. I had gone to high school in the Birmingham area, actually in Hoover, which is now Hoover High School, formerly W.A. Berry High School. My husband is born and raised in Talladega, and we have 2 adult sons. So we're empty nesters, and we do have 2 of our dogs are ours. And then our oldest son, who's in California, brings his dog home periodically, and she wound up not being able to fly back to California because it was too cold to fly her home. So we've had her since Christmas. Typically he would have been home and traveled her back with him to California, but then Corona. So I was born in Jackson, Mississippi, so I'm a Mississippi girl, but I grew up in New Orleans. And like I said, went to high school in Birmingham and college in the Birmingham area. And then my husband and I married and moved to New Jersey. And my parents actually were in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia area, while I was in college. But Dad transferred to Manhattan. And because of jobs, we moved up to New Jersey thinking we'd be there 3 to 5 years. And at almost 9 years, we relocated here to Atlanta, thinking we'd go back to Birmingham, but those opportunities just didn't present themselves. And this move has stuck. So we've been here since 1991. Raised our children here. Our oldest son was born in New Jersey, and our younger son has never known, well, that's not exactly true. He's lived here his whole life, with the exception of a year and a half that he and his wife were living in Pennsylvania for about a year and a half after college, where they had jobs. And so anyway, that's a little bit about me, probably a lot of detail. I tell people I've lived in every Gulf Coast state with the exception of Florida. I did not mention that when I was about 5 years old, we lived in Dallas. So I've even had the Texas connection. So every place that I've lived, Gulf Coast, with the exception of Florida, which is where we like to vacation. So this community was so welcoming and so generous with your comments, your views on my my first video, and had a shout out from Becca at Sambrie Stitches. I've had some other big floss tubers who have commented on my video and been very generous and warm with their comments. I've had Colleen from the Stitching with the Sisterlies, which honestly right now they're my binge watching. I'm working my way through their catalog of videos, and I'm getting pretty, I think I'm up to or I'm in the mid-May time frame with their videos. I've heard from Niecie Lynn, Becca at Sambrie Stitches, Lisa at Kindred Stitches. I'm trying to think who else. Let me check my notes. I think that's pretty much the big, I mean, lots of other followers have contacted me. So I was honestly didn't know whether anyone other than myself, maybe my immediate family, may even see this video. But I was really surprised. I now have over 100 subscribers, which I know for so many FlossTubers that's like a drop in the bucket, but for me it's just an amazing thing to have so much positive feedback and stuff in such a short amount of time. I've had over 440 views on that first video, so I'm just really excited and thankful that as I mentioned, you've all been just so generous and welcoming. So one of the things and the reason for me starting the FlossTube in the first place was because I just didn't know anybody in the community. I've been kind of stalking some of the other FlossTubes, more from an entertainment value. I mean, I'm learning a lot, but because I watched on the TV, people just didn't even know that I was even there. I've connected to a lot of FlossTubers through Instagram and Facebook, but and I'm also Difference Maker on Instagram, and you can find my contact information in the comments in the comment box below. So let's see what else to share about that. Sorry for me looking down. The other huge thank you that I'd like to make is to my son Jonathan. Jonathan is my older of my two sons. My younger son is Benjamin. Benjamin's the one who, he and his wife live here in Atlanta, but Jonathan is a cinematographer or director of photography out in Los Angeles. He went out after graduating from Georgia Southern. He went for his master's in film out at the University of Southern California. And I told him, I said, I never would have let you go had I known that you didn't plan to come home. So it's not that he doesn't come home, but that is where he has launched his career. He's been out there since 2000 and have to think about it, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, since he's been out there since 2010. So he's been out there 10 years now. But Jonathan did all of my, all the graphics, my intro and stuff. He did the design for all of that for me. And I think it's okay for me to share here in this platform. I'm a proud mom, so give me a moment here. He has a couple of very recent things. Just day before yesterday, we learned that one of the films that he was director of photography on, he was a co-director of photography. There's two different elements on this film called The Social Dilemma, and it's been picked up by Netflix and will start running on Netflix on September the 9th. And it's all around social media and how it kind of, I haven't seen the film, I've seen elements of it as he was shooting. And I've seen a lot of still photography from it, and then just saw the trailer. I'll link to the trailer in the comments below. But we're really excited and proud of him for that. And he was also had a different film recently in, well, the other thing to tell you about Social Dilemma, it was in the Sundance Film Festival and got a lot of recognition there and was picked up by a distribution company who actually is the one who got them into, I guess, booked the deal or whatever with Netflix. But he has another film that was in the Los Angeles, see if I get this right, Los Angeles Diversity Film Festival, and he was nominated as Best Cinematography. So we're really proud of that. stiff competition. He didn't actually win that award, but it was, you know, one of those things where they say it's always, you know, it's nice to be nominated. And Jonathan's just one of the nicest people in the whole entire world. He's just a really good human, and he's very supportive of the film and the cinematographer who actually won that award. I want to give a shout out to FlossTubers who I have been watching. Many of these I have mentioned last week. As I said earlier, Colleen and Cheryl with Stitching with the Sisterlies, I've been following them for a while and they are just hysterical. I see so much of myself in them, and sometimes the relationship that I have with my sister, and they're just a lot of fun. And so that's Stitching with the Sisterlies, and as I mentioned, I'm kind of up to their May. I watch all the recent episodes as they're released, but I've also gone back and started from their very first FlossTube and have been working my way through. I think I'm around episode 40 or FlossTube 40. Niecie Lynn, she releases FlossTubes, I think, on Friday. She is absolutely hysterical. I mean, I find myself laughing out loud. She was telling a story, and again, I've gone back and watched all of hers as well, but I watch them when I'm binge watching. I'm usually watching them at night. My husband's trying to go to sleep, but with Niecie, I honestly have had to nudge him a couple of times, wake him up, back up what I'm watching and have it play again for him, because she tells some of the craziest tales. And one is about how she lost her bathing suit top at a party, like in a crowd of people. And it just, her description, I mean, I honestly it was such a visual that I couldn't stop laughing and just had to share it with my husband. It was just really so funny. Then Teresa Kogut, Creative Whims. I just love her. As I mentioned last time, Teresa is an artist. She does not cross stitch, although she's about to venture into cross stitching. She designs cross stitch charts. She has her artwork converted into cross stitch charts, but she does do punch needle, and you know, that's so intriguing to me. I've not done punch needle, but I'm trying to like stop myself from doing punch needle. Like, I don't need just one more thing, another rabbit hole to go down, but her work is so beautiful that, you know, I'm really considering venturing into that. Obviously Pam and Steph, with Just Keep Stitching. I watch them every week, and again, they're just hysterical as well, and they show some beautiful work. And then we've got Chelsea and Priscilla Stitching with the Housewives. They've been putting out some really cute seasonal items, Halloween, fall, a couple of Christmas things, and I hear that there are more seasonal, I think maybe holiday ornaments that are coming as well. So if you have been kind of like, if you're new to FlossTube and you don't know who they are, there'll be links to all of these below. Seriously, you'll need to check them out. Lisa Kindred Stitcher, again, she made some really generous comments on my last FlossTube, and I'm a follower of hers as well. And then we have Dina, Half Stitch Cross Stitcher. Her channel was really new to me, and one of my comments that I got in the last video, one of the things that I'd ask is about, you know, I just wasn't aware of Georgia Stitchers that were in my area. I know that there's Georgia Stitcher who is south of Atlanta, and that's not close to me at all. And then there's the, Georgia Girl Stitcher, who is actually living in Alabama these days, so she's not close, although her mom, from what I understand, lives not too terribly far away from my area. But Dina, she looks like she has had a channel for 4 or 5 years and has a lot of beautiful stitching that she has done. She's a Georgia stitcher, and she lives north of me. And she was, we've connected, and she was sharing with me about, you know, obviously when we're not quarantining, there's some activities that are going on here in the Georgia area where they get together and do some stitching. And so I'm looking forward to engaging in those activities once things kind of open up. So let's get to some haul. That's pretty much, well, let me tell you one other thing. Things that have happened this week, really just work. I work full time, so I only stitch typically in the evenings, you know, after work, or in the evenings and on weekends. But the one thing that I did have to do this week is go get a driver's license. And as I had said in the previous video, and I'm sorry I keep saying in the previous video, but I have an August birthday, and I had quite an experience with the DMV here in Georgia. Anytime a car, because for my car, my name is registered first on that vehicle, even though my husband and I both have our names on the car, whoever's name is first on the registration is whose birthday is associated with that vehicle, and that's when the registration has to be renewed. And so in Georgia, you don't have to actually get a new car tag every year, but you get the little dated decal that goes on it. And so I knew that that was coming up due because it associated with my birthday. But this is the year that my driver's license was actually expiring, and being that now you have to have this thing called a real ID to be able to travel after it may be October next year. I'm not quite sure, but I knew that my driver's license that I've had for probably 8 or 10 years was coming up to be renewed. And so the Friday before my birthday was August 11th. So the Friday before, I thought, okay, I know the DMV is usually closed on Monday. I'm just going to go on that Friday. And I went pretty early. You know, I checked the opening times and stuff, so I knew. And I thought, well, with COVID, there probably, you know, there'll be a line and stuff, or there'll be nobody there, one way or the other. So I get there, and I see signage saying that, and this is a big building, and has a like a double door entrance on the front if you're going in just for a driver's license. But if you're going for the car tag, you enter on the right-hand side of the building. However, because of COVID, they've got all the doors are blocked. Everybody enters through the car tag side of the building, and the exit is the front door. So they have everybody, they can keep track of how many people are in the building. So there's all these people, 3 or 4, standing around with clipboards, and then a line of people begins to form. So I park my car, and I am right in front of that door that you go in. And a lot of people had parked around anticipating going in the front doors, but you see all these people walking around the building. But anyway, luck of the draw, I just happened to get the right parking spot. So I get out, and I see, you know, there's now probably 30 people in line. So I get in that line, and we're going one by one, going up to the, you know, the people with the clipboard. And I hear them asking, you know, what are you here for? That type of thing. Well, I get up to, you know, my turn, and they're like, what are you here for? What's your name and what are you here for? And I said, I'm here to renew my driver's license, have to replace my driver's license, and get the new decal for my car tag. And she says, what time's your appointment? I said, appointment? I don't have an appointment. And she's like, well, you have to have an appointment. I said, well, I don't have an appointment. My birthday is on Tuesday. Are there any available appointments today? She goes, I don't know. You'll have to, you know, go online here. And she gave me a website. And I said, is there anyone who had an appointment who didn't bother to show up for their appointment? She didn't want to have it. She didn't want to talk to me. She just gave me the website. So I was like, fine. So I go get in my car, which is right in front of the door. And I'm on my phone because I thought I'm not going to leave and figure out that I could have come right back. So I sat in the car, look it up, made an appointment, and the first appointment I can get for renewing my driver's license was 3 weeks away. It was going to be September 3rd or 4th. I can't recall exactly. I'm like, 3 weeks. And it asked me for all the information. So they have all of my contact information. Everything is updated and everything in their system. But I find nothing about how to, make an appointment to renew my driver's license, the car tag. And one of the clipboard ladies, not the one I originally spoke with, but this other woman, she's like directing people into different lines. And so I just rolled my window down, pushed the button, the window went down. And I said, excuse me, how do I make an appointment to get my decal? I don't see how to do it. She goes, you don't need an appointment for that. I said, you just need to go get in this line, the very line that I had just gotten out of. The very line the woman sent me to my car to make an appointment. And now at this point, I've been at this building for about 40 minutes. So I go and get in the line. And then I was like so fed up. Plus, as I'm sitting there making my appointment, a lady pulls up next to me on my passenger side and gets out of her car and just bangs her door twice into the side of my car. And I rolled the window down thinking, surely she just must not see that I'm sitting here in the car. And I'm like, excuse me, ma'am. She just like completely ignored me. And the lady who had just spoken to me, who worked there, said, hey, ma'am, you just hit this lady's car and stuff. And she's like, she came back, stuck her head in, and she goes, it didn't do any damage. And she went and she turned and just left. I was like, people are so rude. I mean, she didn't apologize. She didn't do anything. It was just like, I'm like, okay, I'm just having one of those kind of days. And then the lady who I had spoken with turned to me and said, I saw her hit your car. She's like, that is just so rude. So anyway, I go get in a line, and I'm standing in this line for probably another 20 minutes because at this point this is my second line. I'm in about 30 people in line, maybe 20 people in front of me in the particular line I'm in. And I get all the way up to the door to go into the building. We're at capacity. You're going to have to wait. We can only have so many people in the building. I'm like, fine, whatever. So I'm standing there, and of course I have all my documentation with me. And then I hear somebody say, well, you don't have, telling several people behind me in line, oh, just go on in. You don't have to wait in line. And I was like, hold on. What? She said, if you only need a decal, she just needs a decal. She doesn't have to wait in line. I was like, wait a minute. That's why I'm here. And the lady behind me said, that's why I'm here. She goes, ladies, if you just need a decal, you don't have to stand in this line. You just go to the kiosk. I'm like, what kiosk? And they trailed us. We walked all the way through the building. They bring me to a kiosk. I scan my driver's license, swipe my debit card. It spits out a decal for my car, and I was done in 30 to 40 seconds. So at this point, I had been at the DMV for over an hour for something that took me less than a minute, had I only known. But the lesson is that the people at the DMV are just, they're just sorting people, putting them in line. They're not really asking the right questions to figure out what people really need. And, you wonder why people go a little postal. So anyway, I was able to actually book a sooner appointment. So I was able to get an appointment for, I don't know what day it was, earlier this week, Tuesday or Wednesday, at a different location. Went in, I was in there just for a few moments, had everything that I needed, and probably 10 minutes, and I was done. Came out with a big old piece of paper as a temporary. But anyway, very long story about the DMV, so it's pretty much the same everywhere, I think. Okay, what else can I tell you about? Haul. I didn't have a tremendous amount of haul today. Oh shoot, I just thought of something that I didn't bring around here with me, but I'll talk about it, and I'll drop a couple of pictures in here so that you'll understand what it is that I'm going to be sharing. But one of the things that I had ordered that came in this week are these Teresa Kogut Angel Kindness cards. Teresa ends each of her videos, each of her floss tubes, by sharing one of her cards. She has got the most gorgeous angel art. And now Teresa, I think, is Catholic. I'm not, I'm Protestant, raised Methodist, but go to non-denominational church, Andy Stanley's North Point Community Church here in Alpharetta. But I mean, these are just beautiful cards. Each card has a different piece of her art of the angels on here, and a lot of them have words on the front, but then they have either quotes or scriptures on the back, and they're just really beautiful. A lot of these, well, not as many pieces of art as what I'm seeing in this stack, but you can go on her Etsy shop as well and buy prints of much of her art. So that's one thing that came this week. So I was really thrilled about that. As I mentioned, I also quilt, and I am part of the monthly subscription quilting box that Fat Quarter Shop does, and this arrived earlier this week, and I'll just quickly show you the types of things that arrive in here. When you get your box and you open the box, there's always a sheet on the front that kind of themes the contents, and this one says Rise and Shine, and it's got the chickens. And then you remove this, and then there's always a special, like, savings kind of coupon information on the back. So I can't show that to you because it's only for those that are kind of in the club. So, so in this month's package, Kimberly Jolly, who is the owner of Fat Quarter Shop, has now come up with cutting mats. And this particular mat is one, this is kind of just the little back, it rotates. And I have a large one that, I don't know, I think it's OLFA. But anyway, this is a great little small one for cutting small little pieces. We have some, oh, this is a Lori Holt Crazy Quilt papers. So this is not foundation paper, but it's a way of taking, like, these are sized 5 inches by 5 inches, which is the same size as a charm pack in quilting. And you take a charm pack piece and you put one of these pieces of paper on top of it, and then you cut them according to the lines, and then you resort your pieces and then put them back together. And then you put those blocks that you've created back together, and they make some really interesting and cool some blocks. Looks like we have some quilting sewing needles, not machine needles, but, and then two charm packs of backyard blooms. These are Allison Harris for Wyndham Fabrics. And so sometimes you'll get a jelly, like a small jelly roll or honey bun, or sometimes a small Fat Quarter bundle. There's usually fabric of some sort in here, because then they also provide a pattern. In this case, this is called Crazy Daisy Quilt Pattern, and it helps you figure out what to do with the material that was in the box. There's also a kind of a fold-up document that takes you through the different pieces that are in here so you understand how to use them. So it would describe the cutting board. And what is this? This is another way to lay out quilt blocks based upon the information that was, or the materials provided. So I have that. And then the other thing, I've heard a lot from Kimberly on her channel, Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube, where she talks about her OLFA scissors. And I don't think they have them currently in stock on Fat Quarter Shop. She refers to them as her yellow handle scissors. And I have yellow handle scissors. I mean, I've got a number of different pairs of scissors. I have Ginger scissors for, you know, needlework. And then I have a pair of yellow scissors that are called Cutter Bee. And they have a shield on them because they're very sharp. And they were talking about these OLFA scissors and how sharp they are. And so I'm always very particular about my scissors as well. I never use them for anything other than, you know, the sewing or for what they're intended. I don't cut paper and things with them. I have special scissors, you know, not special scissors, but scissors designated for paper. So anyway, I thought, I'm gonna, you know, find these scissors. If they're so wonderful, I want to see how they are. So this week I actually ordered myself a replacement of the Cutter Bee because they still manufacture them, and it's probably the pair I've had is 10 plus years old. And I got the OLFA scissors. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of compare and contrast them to the other scissors that I have and to each other. And I'll let you know how that goes. I found both of these through Amazon. The Cutter Bee, I'll tell you, cost about, I think they were about $10. And the OLFA scissors, which are equal in size, the handles are a little bit different. They have very much the same kind of feel in the cutting, but the OLFA scissors were almost twice what the Cutter Bees were. They were $18, almost $19, I believe, is what I paid. But I'll drop some pictures in here for those and kind of keep you updated on, you know, what I like and what I don't like about those. And because I've really enjoyed these Cutter Bees, and even though I have the Gingers and actually have a couple of different pair, I dropped them into other bags so that I have them around, but I still find myself continually going back to the Cutter Bees, and you know, they've been just a great tool to use. So let's see what else. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm totally unprepared. I did not bring in here with me. I am part of Crazy Ann's Classic Colorworks Floss Club. And floss has been just so difficult to get, and Classic Colorworks, I think, was delayed in getting their floss to Crazy Ann's, and so consequently it was late coming to us. I mean, when I say late, it was about 3 weeks late. So the bundle that I got this time, I think we get six, I think, flosses. Beautiful fall colors, most of which I did not have already in my stash. And one of the ones that I got was hickory sticks, which I was thrilled to get because that's one that is kind of becoming kind of a unicorn, hard to find, because Priscilla does use quite a bit of that. And speaking of flosses that are hard to find, right now I'm on a search for blue corn by Classic Colorworks. I've checked all kinds of resources. I have done searches online. I am not finding anybody that has that. If anyone knows anyone that has that in their inventory, please drop me a comment and point me in the right direction, because that would be awesome to find, because that's something that I do need for actually more than one chart, and just do not currently have that. So another thing, I've heard so many people talking about, you know, free charts, and because everybody is kind of home and stuck and limited funds to be able to put into stitching, I went online and looked at a lot of the popular designers and found that, I mean, most, I won't say all, but most have at least one free chart on their site. But then there are some that extremely generous and have some really exceptionally cute things on their site that are free. A couple of those that I'll call out here. Tiny Modernist has some really cute things. Plum Street Samplers has quite a few. Mirabilia has a number of angels, cherubs. I think a whole cherub collection. There's, I want to say, at least 10 designs on that site. Let's see, Priscilla and Chelsea have a couple of free charts. Oh, and another, Fat Quarter Shop. If you go to the Fat Quarter Shop blog, you can get there by way of their fatquartershop.com site. It'll say blog, and you can go there. They do a lot of free quilting patterns, but this year they did a stitch along called Bloomtopia. It was completely free. However, they do ask for a donation to Make-A-Wish. Their Make-A-Wish challenge, where they had benchmarked to try to, I think they were looking for 50,000, and then Kimberly and her husband Kevin were going to put in 10,000, and then I'm trying to think, Moda, I believe, was putting in 10,000, and they wound up, I mean, that would have been like 70,000. I think they were over $100,000 between their own contribution and the contributions of the stitching community. So anyway, those charts are just sitting out there waiting to be consumed. There's a new one that they're working on that will be coming out in January. They always start these charity stitch-alongs in the January timeframe, but I hear that there's another stitch-along coming in September. So as far as, I'm not totally lost, but when I mentioned Bloomtopia, and as I also have said before, I'm really great at getting started on stitch-alongs. I'm kind of the serial starter. I do complete the work that I start. I just can't always keep up because of my work schedule. But this is Bloomtopia. And let me pull that forward so you can see it. There is a border that goes around the outside, and these are not the called for colors. I love Tula Pink, and these are not, I mean, Tula is not part of the stitch along, but these are my kind of Tula inspired colors. I just wanted to try something a little brighter than what they were doing. The called for colors were beautiful, but I just was looking for something a little bit different. So anyway, there is a border, obviously, that will go all the way around, and that's where I am. I also have a little bit of white highlights here and there, so I have a needle loaded with white here that I've kind of started working on some of that. Obviously, it won't make a difference in what you see through the camera, but it was a fun stitch. And this stitch along, I can't recall how many different pieces it came in. I think it was 12. So they just chunked this particular design into pieces, and you got a new piece every 2 weeks, I believe. So that was fun. I just needed to spend a little bit of time on it to get that done. So I guess we've transitioned to whips. So excuse me for not saying so. Another one that I have shown and I've done a little bit of work on. This is Christmas List by Silver Creek Samplers. Oh, and just to mention Bloomtopia, I did that on just plain white Monaco, 28 count. That's an even weave, if you're not familiar. So, on Christmas List, this is as far as I've gotten. The last time I showed this, I'm not sure if I had all of the tree done. I had not done any of the car, so that's new this week. I found that I typically find myself working on one thing at a time, and so I'm trying to challenge myself to really spread out and not be so monogamous. So I didn't think I would ever do this, but although I am kind of an organization kind of a person, but I have decided that I'm just designating a particular project to work on each week or each day of the week, and I'm going to just work through those until they're complete, and then I'll replace that project with something else. And this fabric from A Christmas List is 28 count sand Lugana. So last week I had also shown you a piece of Monaco that I had dyed. I showed you 4 pieces, but this piece, the brown that I had done, this one I decided I've started here. This is Fall Seasons of Chalk. This is a collaboration between Kathy Haberman and Priscilla Blaine from Chelsea and Priscilla. It was in the 2016 Just Cross Stitch magazine, and unfortunately I have a digital download and I did not print anything other than the chart itself. There is a picture of what this will look like, and I'm sure that you can see it online. I will try to drop a picture of that in here so you can see what I'm talking about. But again, this is Monaco, 28 count. It's Rit dyed in dark brown. Another fat quarter shop piece that I have been working on is So She Did. And I love this, but I honestly was getting anxious because it's so much fill in with just this teal color, and I love it, but you know, I get bored. So here's where I am, and again, this is Monaco, and it's just white. Last time you saw this, I didn't have any of the yellow. I did not have any of this upper teal or these gray accents up here. I did not have the teal on the outside with the tip of the plug. I've added here. So basically I just had most of this lighter component, and I had this kind of inside of this throat banding. This is the throat of the sewing machine, and some of this teal down here as well. It's becoming more fun now that I've kind of progressed to the point where I'm trying to get to the point where I can get to the thread or the tomato so that I can work with something other than just the teal. I love teal, but I don't want to just stitch with it constantly. So another fat quarter shop that I did, and that last one, even though it was fat quarter shop, that's a Lori Holt design. This is another fat quarter shop, Mistletoe Lane. This again was a stitch along, and for me it was a start along. And this is the one that I'd mentioned I haven't figured out yet. Well, I've kind of decided, but this is where I've gotten. On this one, I've added a good bit of the holly. I've added the berries to the holly. I had the upper component of the Christmas stocking, but now I've completed that Christmas stocking. I still just need to repeat this on this side, and there's a lighter green that fills in these open spaces of the leaves that I still need to add. But as far as the house that goes in the middle, I'm going to do it in kind of a creamy white, and I'm thinking I'm going to do it with a charcoal roof. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And that is done on, it's the called for fabric. Let's see. Overcast 25 count Lugana is what this is. And this next one, this is what I'm going to show you. This is free. This component of the design is free. This is the border when you're putting the Prim Stitch series on one piece of fabric. You can do them individually, as you'll see here, and take just individual blocks. But I decided I'm going to do it all into one piece of fabric. And so this is done on Prim Lugana. It's 25 count. And I have not gotten very far, even though I've received 2 months of the cards. I've only been working on putting the border in, and then this inside component here that you see, this is the beginning of the flagpole, which is this. And then the second one that I've not begun, other than the upper border for this one, is the second month. I've got to get busy getting this done. I'm hoping I can get those mostly done this weekend, because I want to say the next one comes out around Labor Day. So, and Labor Day is just next weekend. The next thing I've been working on is Teresa Kogut's In Command. And I just love this. But this is a hard stitch. I've never done anything with so many similar colors in, you know, just keeping track of everything. Her chart is very well done, but it's just hard, especially when you're, you know, as you get older and your eyes are not as good as they used to be. So this is what I've gotten done so far. Sorry I didn't press my work this week. But this is the upper component of her wing. And here, it's this area. I've stitched this whole piece here, so kind of perspective for scale. And this fabric is, I kept the little sticker, 32 count Mystic Belfast linen. So the next piece that I don't know if I've stitched any more of this since my last video. I think I may have done a little bit. This is a waxing moon design called Search the Sky. And this, I'm pretty sure this is in the same spot, because I talked about adding some little red for Rudolph's nose, and I've not even gotten to do that yet. I got so busy trying to get the teal on that So She Did sewing machine to a point that I could start introducing additional colors. that I spent more than, I think it was at that point that I decided, you know, I really need a plan to be able to get through all of these and be able to put some time into each one. This last piece is a piece that I'm doing for my son. And I didn't share this last time just because I had so much that I was sharing last week. But he loves Disney. We all do. As a family, we love Disney. We love Star Wars. We love Harry Potter. You know, just all of those things. And we love all the theme parks. But I found this. This is not a great picture. But I found this on Etsy as a download. And he also loves Marvel. So these are all the Marvel characters. Not all the Marvel characters, but you've got Captain America, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. I don't even know them all. Up here, obviously, Mickey and Minnie. But I've had this for quite a while. And this is done on linen. I don't even know what kind of linen. It was just probably whatever I picked up at Joann's or Hobby Lobby or whatever. But this is all I have done. Captain America is done. And right now I'm working on Minnie. So, sorry it's so wrinkledy. And I'm, you know, if I were to do this again, because I started doing this before I knew about all the different fabric choices that there were, I would not be doing it on this particular linen. This particular linen is so loose in the weave. It's, for me, just very difficult to stitch with. I would prefer something with, you know, a little tighter than this. But it is what it is. So, real quick, what else do I have to talk about? I talked about the free charts, works in progress, kind of what is my plan. Well, I've kind of alluded to my plan. I've developed just a rotation or a schedule to work on these items. I think I've got 8, even though there's only 7 days of the week. I will try to double up something over the course of the weekend. I'm probably, if anything, I will set aside the, well, I'm not even going to say what I would set aside. I'm just going to, you know, muscle through, power through, and try to just get them all done. And because there is a host of things that are already kitted up, and some have already, you know, I've got some stitches in some things that are just sitting in the wings waiting to be, you know, called up to bat. So I'm just anxious to get all that done. So before I wrap up, I do want to tell you about someone else that I follow. It's not a FlossTube per se, but she is a crafter, a stitcher, a quilter, a crocheter, and that's Melanie Ham. I've been following Melanie for a couple of years. She's got great tutorials. She's on YouTube as Melanie Ham. And about 1.5 years ago, Melanie was diagnosed with kidney cancer, and she had surgery, a successful surgery. And she was kind of, you know, down for a little bit, but came back strong and, you know, came back, was doing her videos and living her life. And then just a couple of weeks ago, she was on, she put a very short video out that she had been, you know, diagnosed again with cancer, that the cancer that I thought was gone had, you know, making a pretty powerful return. And she was going to be having some very significant abdominal surgery. I don't know the details. I only know what she shared online. I do know that the surgery was a success. I don't think they got 100% of what they were going after. I think that they got greater than 90% of what they were going for. So I just ask that, you know, go out, see her site if you're interested. If you're a praying person, pray for Melanie. and her family. She is married to a filmmaker, actually, in California. She's California based. Her husband is also a cinematographer like my son. They're a younger family. I want to say, I'm going to guess they're later 30s, mid to late 30s is a pure guess on my part. And I know that they have a couple of children. She's going to be off her feet for some period of time. So I don't know how often we will hear from her, but check her out. Pray for her if you are inclined to do so, but send well wishes their way. She's a big part of the quilting and crafting community, so I just would like to send her some well wishes. Additionally, one of my friends had posted something online, and I thought, this is so appropriate to the message that I'm trying to get out with my channel. And I call myself, difference maker. Not that I think that I'm anything special, that I'm just making a huge difference in people's lives, but I'm trying. It just, little things, your attitude, how you approach things, just showing kindness to people, I just think has such an impact. And I saw what a friend of mine had posted, and to me, this just kind of sums up my feelings. It just says, remember, whenever you're in a position to help someone, be glad and always do it, because that's God answering someone else's prayers through you. So that just, spoke volumes to me. And I am going to also do what Teresa does with her cards. And I'm going to end with just one of her kindness cards. And I just picked this one. And it says, I'm wearing contacts, and I typically wear progressive bifocals, so hopefully I can read this. Spread love everywhere you go. And that's a comment by Mother Teresa. And on the back it says, live with courage and share your light with others. And I think, gosh, this is so appropriate, especially in combination with the message that my friend had posted. So I just want to share that and say thank you for watching. I hope that you will like this video and subscribe. Ring the little bell to learn more about the next time I post a video. I will have a giveaway coming up once I hit some milestone. I think when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I will have a giveaway. So I would ask that you like and subscribe, leave me a comment. Still calling for all those Georgia Stitchers to let me know that you're here. And if you enjoy what I'm doing, or you have comments, suggestions, things you'd like to see, things you'd like to know, if you have questions for me, drop them in the comments box below. But other than that, please go out and make a difference in someone's life. Thanks, and have a great day.